What if every choice you've ever made, every path you took, every word left unspoken didn't just fade into memory, but spun off into an entirely new universe? Picture this: somewhere out there, a version of you is living a life shaped by every road not taken, every chance ignored or seized. This isn't science fiction, it's the spine-tingling heart of multiverse theory, a concept so dizzying it reshapes how we see reality itself. Today, we're peeling back the veil on the cosmos' best-kept secrets, diving into 30 mind-bending truths that will make you question everything you thought you knew. From parallel worlds where history unfolded differently, to dimensions where the laws of physics twist into the unimaginable, the multiverse isn't just a wild idea, it's a frontier science is racing to understand. Think about the last time you stood at a crossroads. Maybe it was a career move, a relationship, or even something as simple as turning left instead of right. Now imagine that moment fracturing into infinite possibilities, each one birthing a new timeline where a different version of you walks a different path. That's the electrifying promise of the multiverse, a cosmos so vast, so layered, that every possible outcome of every possible event exists somewhere. Scientists call it the many worlds interpretation, but strip away the jargon, and it's a revelation that borders on the spiritual. Could there be universes where dinosaurs never went extinct? Where humanity never arose, or where you are living a life straight out of your wildest dreams? Buckle up, because we're about to venture beyond the edges of known reality. Over the next 30 revelations, we'll uncover hidden dimensions where time flows backward, meet doppelgangers of everyone you've ever known, and explore how cutting-edge physics is tearing apart our old, limited view of existence. Some of these secrets will unsettle you, others might fill you with awe, but one thing's certain: by the time we're done, you'll never look at the night sky or your own choices the same way again. The multiverse isn't just a theory, it's a mirror held up to the infinite possibilities within and around us. So tell me, are you ready to step through? One of the most staggering ideas in modern physics is this: at every single moment, our universe branches into countless new realities, each one spinning off to exist separately from our own. This isn't just speculation, it's a serious scientific framework called the many worlds interpretation, born from the bizarre rules of quantum mechanics. Take Schrödinger's famous cat trapped in a box with a 50-50 chance of survival. Quantum physics says the cat exists in a blur of possibilities, both alive and dead, until we open the box and force reality to choose. But here's where it gets wild. The many worlds interpretation suggests reality doesn't choose at all. Instead, the universe splits. In one world, you open the box to find a purring cat. In another, you're met with silence. Both outcomes happen just in separate, parallel universes that can never interact. Now scale that up to every decision, every random event, every subatomic flicker across all of existence. A photon deflects left instead of right, new universe. You take a different route to work, new universe. Every possible variation, no matter how tiny, unravels into its own fully realized timeline. The math behind this is both elegant and mind-numbing. Imagine flipping a coin just once. Heads and tails each create their own branching path. But in the quantum world, particles flip coins countless times per second, meaning the multiverse isn't just vast, it's growing exponentially, endlessly, at every instant. Somewhere out there, a version of Earth never saw an asteroid strike 66 million years ago, leaving dinosaurs to evolve into intelligent, tool-using creatures. Another Earth might harbor a humanity that unlocked clean energy centuries ago, avoiding climate disaster. There could even be universes where the laws of physics themselves are unrecognizable, where gravity repels instead of attracts, or time loops like a broken record. The sheer scope is dizzying, but here's the kicker: these parallel worlds aren't far away in some distant corner of space. They're layered right on top of our reality, separated not by distance but by the invisible seams of quantum probability. We'll never meet these alternate selves or visit these shadow worlds, yet according to the math, they're as real as the screen you're watching now, so why can't we detect them? Think of reality like a radio tuned to one frequency, our universe. The other stations are playing too, but we're locked onto a single channel. This isn't mysticism, it's hard physics, backed by equations that predict parallel worlds as inevitably as gravity predicts apples falling from trees. Skeptics argue it's untestable, but proponents fire back. Absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. After all, black holes were once considered mathematical fantasy until we photographed one. The multiverse might just be waiting for its moment to step into the light. Right this second, in some distant corner of the multiverse, there's a version of you who made every choice differently, who took the job abroad, who said yes instead of no, who turned left instead of right. And that's just the beginning. According to the many worlds interpretation, you're not just living one life, you're living all possible versions of it, unfolding across infinite realities. Every hesitation, every leap of faith, every split-second decision spawns a new universe where another you walks a path you'll never know. It's not science fiction, it's the logical consequence of quantum mechanics playing out on a cosmic scale. Here's where it gets even stranger. Somewhere out there, a version of you might be living what you'd consider your ideal life, richer, happier, more fulfilled. But flip it around, there's also a universe where things went catastrophically worse. That's the double-edged sword of infinity. Every triumph and every tragedy exists simultaneously, woven into the fabric of the multiverse. Philosophers call this the problem of the best possible self. If an infinite number of you exist, is there any version that truly got it all right? Or is every life just a different shade of compromise, a unique mix of wins and losses? Now, let's take a detour into something even more mind-bending: Boltzmann brains. Imagine if, in the vast chaos of an infinite multiverse, random fluctuations in space-time accidentally conjured up a fully formed, conscious brain, complete with false memories of a life it never lived. According to some theories, the odds of this happening might actually be higher than the odds of our universe evolving naturally. So here's the unsettling question: how do you know you're not one of those? A lone brain floating in the void, hallucinating reality itself. It sounds like a dystopian thought experiment, but it forces us to grapple with the nature of existence. If the multiverse allows for every conceivable possibility, then even the most outrageous scenarios must exist somewhere. What does this mean for how we live our lives? If every choice spawns a new universe, does anything truly matter? Or is the opposite true, that because every possibility plays out, every decision carries infinite weight? The multiverse doesn't give easy answers, but it does something profound. It dissolves regret. That path you didn't take, somewhere you did, the words you held back. In another world, they were spoken. The multiverse isn't just a theory about reality. It's a mirror reflecting back our deepest questions about fate, free will, and what it means to be you. What if time travel isn't about bending the rules of our own universe, but slipping into another one entirely? The idea of hopping into a time machine and witnessing the dinosaurs or meeting your future self might seem like pure fiction, but the multiverse theory offers a spine-tingling alternative. Instead of rewriting history, you'd simply be stepping into a parallel reality where time flows differently. Picture this: every moment in history isn't a single fixed point, but a branching network of alternate timelines, each one a self-contained universe with its own version of events. That means time travel could just be a form of universe hopping, moving sideways across dimensions rather than backward or forward in a single line. This idea solves one of time travel's biggest headaches, the grandfather paradox. If you went back in time and prevented your own birth, how could you have existed to do it in the first place? The multiverse answer: you didn't erase your own past, you just switched to a universe where your grandfather never met your grandmother. Your original timeline remains untouched, chugging along exactly as it always has, while you're now stranded in a new reality where you were never born. No paradox, no cosmic glitch, just an infinite web of possibilities adjusting seamlessly around your actions. The Novikov self-consistency principle takes this even further. It suggests the universe has a built-in safety net. Any attempt to change the past would inherently create the exact conditions needed to keep history consistent. Think of it like a Möbius strip, a twisted loop where every action folds back on itself. If you tried to assassinate a historical figure, some unseen force, a slipped knife, a sudden distraction would ensure you failed. But in the multiverse model, that force isn't magic, it's probability. For every universe where you succeed, there are countless others where chance conspired to stop you. The implications are staggering. Want to visit ancient Rome? There's a universe where you're already there, walking the cobblestones, but it's not your universe. The version of you that returns wouldn't be coming back to the same world you left. This reshapes the very nature of cause and effect, turning time travel from a destructive act into a journey of infinite exploration. No single timeline is ever altered because every possible outcome already exists somewhere. The past isn't a place you can visit. It's a landscape of realities, each one as real and unchangeable as the present you're living now. So the next time you daydream about rewriting history, remember, the multiverse might grant your wish, just not in the way you expect. You wouldn't be changing your story. You'd simply be stepping into another one. Ever had that eerie feeling where you could swear something happened only to find out the world insists it didn't? Maybe you remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison, or the Monopoly man sporting a monocle, or the Berenstain Bears spelled with an E instead of an A. These aren't just quirks of faulty memory. They might be something far more unsettling, glimpses of parallel realities brushing up against our own. The Mandela Effect, named after the false collective memory of Mandela's death, has baffled psychologists for years. But what if these false memories aren't mistakes at all? Quantum physics suggests our universe might not be as isolated as we think. Take quantum entanglement. Particles linked across vast distances, instantly mirroring each other's states, defying classical physics. If subatomic particles can communicate faster than light, why couldn't information or even fragments of experience leak between neighboring universes? Imagine reality as a stack of papers, each sheet a separate timeline. Press down hard enough and ink from one page might smudge onto another, that blur. That's the Mandela Effect. Real-world examples send chills down the spine. Thousands insist they saw the Statue of Liberty holding her torch in the wrong hand, or recall the Sinbad genie movie, Shazam, that never existed. Skeptics wave these away as confabulation, but the multiverse theory offers a spine-tingling alternative. Somewhere, those things did happen. In a universe where Berenstain was the correct spelling, or where Curious George had a tail, those memories might be real, echoes bleeding into our consciousness like radio static from a nearby station. Even quantum experiments hint at this crossover. The double-slit test shows particles behaving differently when observed, as if aware they're being watched. Some theorists argue this observer effect could stem from interactions with alternate versions of ourselves, silently influencing outcomes across realities. It's as if the walls between worlds are thinner than we thought, just porous enough for whispers of what might have been to slip through. So next time someone corrects your memory, don't just shrug. You might be holding a piece of a universe that wasn't supposed to touch this one. The multiverse isn't just out there, it's reaching back. Here's a thought that might rewrite everything we know about the cosmos. What if dark matter isn't some mysterious substance at all, but the ghostly fingerprints of other universes pressing against our own? For decades, scientists have been chasing this invisible force, something that makes up 85% of all matter in existence, yet refuses to interact with light or anything else we can detect. But here's the twist. Dark matter's gravitational pull could actually be the weight of parallel realities brushing up against ours, their presence felt but never seen. This idea springs from brainworld cosmology, a radical offshoot of string theory. Picture our universe not as a solitary bubble floating in nothingness, but as a four-dimensional membrane, a brain floating in a higher dimensional space. Just like sheets of paper stacked in a ream, other brains could be hovering mere millimeters away in dimensions we can't perceive. When two of these membranes drift close, their gravitational forces might leak across the gap, tugging at stars and galaxies in ways we mistake for dark matter. It's as if we're living on one side of a mirror, unaware of the reflections pressing back. The math behind this is both elegant and mind-stretching. String theory suggests there could be up to 11 hidden dimensions curled up like microscopic origami around us. In some models, these extra dimensions aren't just empty voids, they're highways for gravity to slip between worlds. That's why we'd feel the pull of other universes without seeing their light. Gravity, unlike other forces, isn't confined to our brain. It leaks, it seeps, it whispers secrets from realities we'll never touch. Consider the bullet cluster, one of astronomy's most famous dark matter puzzles. When two galaxies collided, their visible matter slowed down like cars in a traffic jam, but something invisible kept hurtling forward, bending light with its gravity. Traditional dark matter theories strain to explain it, but overlapping brains that could account for the phantom mass perfectly. It's as if we're watching shadows cast by something moving just beyond the curtain of reality. Now here's where it gets even wilder. If other brains are close enough to influence us, they might not be static neighbors. Some models suggest these membranes could collide, cataclysmic events that would reboot entire universes. Our Big Bang may be just the aftermath of two brains smashing together in a higher dimension, like cymbals clashing in a symphony we can't hear. It's a humbling thought. The greatest mystery in modern physics might not be a particle we haven't found, but entire worlds we're literally bumping up against. So next time you look up at the night sky, remember this: the missing pieces of our universe might not be missing at all. They could be right next door, hidden in plain sight, separated by a dimension thinner than a whisper. That eerie sense of déjà vu, where a moment feels hauntingly familiar, as if you've lived it before, might be more than just a trick of the mind. What if it's a fleeting connection to another version of you in a parallel universe? Quantum physics hints at this possibility, suggesting that during these uncanny moments, your consciousness might briefly sync with another timeline, experiencing a memory that isn't quite yours. Think of it like a radio picking up a faint signal from a station it wasn't tuned to, a blip of interference from a reality just out of reach. The science behind this is rooted in quantum superposition, the idea that particles exist in multiple states until observed. Your brain, composed of those same particles, could theoretically exist in multiple states of experience simultaneously. When you feel déjà vu, it might be your awareness brushing against another you in a nearly identical universe where events unfolded with slight but meaningful differences. Neurologists have long struggled to explain déjà vu purely through memory errors, as brain scans show distinct activity patterns during these episodes, almost as if two neural pathways are momentarily overlapping, like crosstalk between phone lines. Studies of epilepsy patients add fuel to this theory. Certain seizures trigger intense déjà vu, with patients describing vivid, uncontrollable memories of events that never happened. Researchers found these episodes correlate with abnormal electrical discharges in the medial temporal lobe, a brain region critical for memory. If a minor seizure can simulate false familiarity, could quantum fluctuations, tiny ripples in reality, do the same on a cosmic scale? It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. In the many worlds interpretation, every decision point creates branching universes, each nearly identical to ours until the moment of divergence. Consider this: you walk into a cafe and suddenly know you've seen the barrister's sleeve tattoo before, even though it's your first visit. Conventional science calls it a memory glitch. But the multiverse theory offers a tantalizing alternative. Somewhere in another thread of existence, you did meet this person. Their tattoo, the way sunlight hits the espresso machine, the song playing overhead, it all happened before, just not here. The eerie precision of déjà vu might be your brain momentarily accessing that other timeline's memory, like two films projected onto the same screen for a split second. Even more compelling are cases where people experience collective déjà vu, multiple individuals sharing the same uncanny moment. In 2012, a viral Reddit thread documented hundreds of users swearing they remembered a movie called Shazam starring Sinbad as a genie, despite no such film existing. Could this be a mass echo from a nearby universe where the movie was real? The idea challenges our understanding of consciousness itself, suggesting our minds might not be entirely confined to one reality. So the next time you're struck by that spine-tingling sense of familiarity, don't dismiss it. You might be catching a whisper from a world where things played out just slightly differently, a fleeting handshake between parallel selves across the infinite branches of the multiverse. What if the reality you're experiencing right now, the screen in front of you, the weight of your body in the chair, even the thoughts forming in your mind, is nothing more than lines of code in an unfathomably advanced simulation? It sounds like the plot of a sci-fi movie, but some of the brightest minds in physics and philosophy take this idea deadly seriously. Elon Musk famously put the odds of us living in base reality at 1 in billions, and when you stack that against the multiverse theory, things get even stranger. If one universe can be simulated, why wouldn't there be countless others, each running on its own cosmic server in some higher dimensional data center? Nick Bostrom's simulation trilemma lays out the chilling logic behind this. Either civilizations like ours almost always go extinct before reaching technological maturity, they choose not to run ancestor simulations, or we're almost certainly living in one right now. The first two options are bleak, suggesting either inevitable self-destruction or a lack of curiosity. So many thinkers land on the third, that we're digital constructs in some post-human civilization's historical recreation. Now stretch that across the multiverse. If simulations are possible at all, the number of fake universes would dwarf real ones. For every base reality, there could be billions of nested simulations within simulations, each unaware they're just layers in an infinite digital onion. Here's where it collides with quantum physics. In a simulated multiverse, the many worlds branching could simply be different instances running on parallel processors. Every quantum decision point, like Schrödinger's cat being alive or dead, wouldn't require universe splitting. It'd just be two separate simulation threads, each rendering a different outcome. Even glitches in our reality, déjà vu, the Mandela Effect, quantum particles behaving differently when observed, could be explained as artifacts of rendering limits or background processes in the cosmic code. Think of the double-slit experiment, where particles act as waves when unobserved but snap into definite positions when measured. In simulation terms, that's just lazy loading. The program doesn't bother rendering a definite state until someone looks to save processing power. The discovery that reality might pixelate at the smallest scales, like a video game's textures when you zoom in too close, only deepens the parallels. Even dark energy, the mysterious force accelerating the universe's expansion, could be the simulation's way of culling unnecessary data by stretching space and thinning out information density. Now imagine all this scaled across a multiverse. Each simulated reality could have entirely different rule sets, some with stronger gravity, some where light moves slower, others where time loops in on itself like a corrupted save file. The reason we haven't made contact with other civilizations, they might be running on incompatible platforms, and if you follow the logic to its extreme, the beings who created our simulation could themselves be simulations in a higher layer ad infinitum. There's no bottom level, no real reality, just an endless fractal of universes within universes, each convinced it's the original. So where does that leave us? If this is all code, do our choices matter? Here's the twist, they might matter more than ever. In a single linear universe, actions have finite consequences. But in a simulated multiverse, every decision could spawn new simulation branches, multiplying your impact across countless rendered realities. You're not just living one life, you're generating infinite variations of it, each one a data point in some unfathomable experiment. The question isn't whether we're in a simulation, it's whether we're the main characters or just background noise in someone else's story. Imagine the most destructive force in the cosmos, a black hole, where gravity is so intense not even light can escape, actually serving as the birthplace of an entirely new universe. This isn't science fiction, it's the daring hypothesis of physicist Lee Smolens's fecund universes theory. According to this idea, when matter vanishes into a black hole singularity, it doesn't just disappear. Instead, it triggers a new Big Bang, birthing a fresh cosmos with slightly tweaked physical laws. Think of it like a cosmic Russian nesting doll. Every black hole in our universe could contain an infant universe inside it, and our own reality might just be the offspring of some long-ago star's collapse in a parent universe. The mechanics behind this are as elegant as they are mind-bending. At the heart of every black hole lies a singularity, a point where density becomes infinite and space-time curves beyond recognition. Classical physics breaks down here, but quantum theory suggests something extraordinary might happen. Rather than hitting a dead end, the singularity could bounce, rebounding outward in an explosive creation event. This new universe would inherit its parents' fundamental constants like the speed of light or the strength of gravity, but with tiny random variations. Over eons, this process would favor universes adept at making black holes, explaining why our cosmos seems oddly fine-tuned for their formation. It's cosmic natural selection on a grand scale. Universes that spawn more black holes get more children, while sterile ones fade into oblivion. Now, where does all that swallowed matter go? Enter white holes, the hypothetical exit points of black holes. While a black hole's event horizon is a one-way street, a white hole would be its mirror opposite, matter and energy gushing outward but nothing able to enter. Some theories suggest the Big Bang itself was a white hole eruption spewing out the seeds of our universe. Hawking radiation adds another layer to this puzzle. As black holes slowly evaporate, leaking energy over unimaginable timescales, that energy might not just vanish, it could be the fuel for new cosmic beginnings. Picture a black hole as a tunnel rather than a pit. One end sucks matter in, the other end, perhaps in another universe or another time, sprays it back out as the building blocks of fresh reality. The implications are staggering. If every black hole is a potential universe factory, then our cosmos could be part of an infinite tree of branching realities, each with its own unique physics. Some might have stronger nuclear forces, making stars burn out in seconds. Others could lack electromagnetism, never forming atoms as we know them. And somewhere out there, in the genes of these offspring universes, one might have struck the perfect balance for life, not by design, but by the sheer statistics of infinite rolls of the cosmic dice. So the next time you gaze at a black hole's ominous shadow in a telescope image, remember, you might be looking at a cosmic womb. The very forces that tear stars apart could be the engines of creation, spinning new worlds from the ashes of the old. The universe isn't just expanding, it might be reproducing, with black holes as its unlikely midwives. What if the unidentified flying objects streaking across our skies aren't visitors from distant stars, but versions of us from parallel Earths? The idea that UFOs might be interdimensional travelers, not extraterrestrials, flips the script on decades of speculation. Picture this: somewhere in the multiverse, human civilization took a radically different technological path. Maybe the Nazis won World War II and developed anti-gravity craft. Maybe the Renaissance never ended, birthing a steampunk society with brass and gear-flying machines. These aren't just thought experiments, they're plausible alternate histories playing out right now in unseen realities, and their inhabitants might have figured out how to slip between dimensions. The Nazi UFO mythos offers a chilling case study. Declassified documents reveal that Third Reich scientists were indeed researching advanced propulsion systems, from bell-shaped craft to theoretical energy sources like fuel technology. While most historians dismiss claims of functional Nazi flying saucers, the multiverse theory raises a spine-tingling question: what if in another timeline they succeeded? A world where wartime resources weren't diverted, where key scientists defected differently, where breakthroughs occurred just a few years earlier could have spawned a wholly separate aerospace paradigm. Eyewitness accounts of post-war UFO sightings, especially the infamous Foo Fighters, often describe aircraft with unsettlingly human design quirks: riveted hulls, cockpit-like structures, even insignias. Could these be artifacts from an Earth where the Axis powers won the tech race? Now stretch that concept across infinite timelines. Civilizations that harnessed zero-point energy in antiquity, societies where Da Vinci's blueprints were built, cultures that skipped the Industrial Revolution entirely and leapt straight to quantum engineering. Every divergence point in human history could have birthed a reality with unrecognizable transportation methods. The tic-tac UFOs documented by U.S. Navy pilots with their sudden accelerations and lack of visible propulsion might not defy physics as we know it. They could simply operate on physics as someone else knows it, leveraging dimensional shifts or localized space-time warps perfected in another world's labs. Even the beings inside these craft might not be aliens in the traditional sense. Close encounter reports often describe entities with humanoid features: 2 arms, 2 legs, binocular vision. Too similar to be random, yet just different enough to unsettle. Could these be evolutionary cousins from Earths with slightly altered environments? A planet where the dinosaurs never died might have pushed mammals down a smarter, faster evolutionary track, creating a human analog with elongated limbs and oversized eyes. Another timeline with higher background radiation could have accelerated brain development, yielding a species that cracked interdimensional travel while we were still inventing the wheel. The implications rewrite the search for intelligent life. Instead of scanning distant exoplanets, we might need to look sideways into the countless versions of our own world humming just beyond perception. Those lights in the sky, they might not be coming from afar. They could be next-door neighbors peering back through the cosmic veil with the same mix of curiosity and caution. After all, to them, we're the ones who look like aliens. The Big Bang, the cataclysmic birth of our universe, might not have been an explosion in empty space at all. Instead, picture 2 immense cosmic membranes floating like invisible sheets in a higher dimension, slowly drifting toward each other until impact. This is the spine-chilling premise of the ekpyrotic universe theory, a radical alternative to traditional inflation models. Forget a single fiery singularity. Our entire existence could be the aftershock of colliding worlds. In this model, our universe is just one 3-dimensional brain, existing alongside others in a vast, hidden multidimensional landscape. Think of brains like soap bubbles suspended in air, invisible to each other until they touch. When 2 of these cosmic membranes collide, the energy released wouldn't just create a bang. It would generate an entire universe's worth of matter, radiation, and space-time itself. The aftermath, a newborn cosmos like ours expanding from that violent meeting point. Here's where it diverges sharply from cosmic inflation. while inflation suggests our universe ballooned from a subatomic speck in a fraction of a second. The ekpyrotic model paints a slower, almost elegant process. Those pre-collision brains could have been drifting for eons, their approach gentle enough to smooth out irregularities, explaining why our universe appears so uniform on large scales. No need for hypothetical inflation fields or exotic particles, just gravity and extra dimensions doing the work. The math behind this is staggering. String theory predicts up to 11 dimensions, most curled up too small to detect. In this hidden scaffolding, brains could stretch across light years in higher dimensional space, vibrating like drumheads. When they finally collide, the resulting shockwaves wouldn't just generate heat, they'd imprint patterns matching the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of creation we observe today. Some physicists argue this explains certain anomalies in that radiation better than inflation does, like mysterious cold spots that might be bruises from the brain collision itself. Now, the real mind bender. If our universe began this way, the cycle might never end. Those colliding brains could rebound and pull apart, gathering energy until they crash together again in another Big Bang billions of years from now. It's not just one creation event, it's an endless loop of universes being born, expanding, and colliding anew. Hindu cosmology spoke of cosmic cycles lasting trillions of years. Modern physics might be catching up to ancient intuition. But the wildest implication, if brains keep colliding, then the Big Bang wasn't unique. Right now, in some unfathomable higher dimension, another membrane might be hurtling toward ours. The next universe could be born not in the distant past, but in our future. We're not just the aftermath of one collision. We might be the prelude to the next. That chill down your spine when you feel an unseen presence, the shadow that darts just beyond your peripheral vision, the whisper that wasn't there when you turned your head, might not be supernatural at all. It could be something far stranger, a fleeting collision of realities, a momentary glitch in the multiverse's code. Quantum physics offers a spine-tingling explanation for paranormal activity, suggesting ghosts aren't spirits of the dead, but echoes of alternate versions of ourselves bleeding through the fabric of existence. Take quantum tunneling, a bizarre phenomenon where particles suddenly appear on the other side of impenetrable barriers, as if teleporting. On a subatomic level, electrons vanish from one side of a wall and materialize on the other without crossing the space in between. Now scale that up. If particles can tunnel through solid matter, why couldn't entire moments or even fragments of consciousness leak between neighboring universes? Those footsteps in an empty hallway or the figure you swear you saw in the mirror might be traces of another timeline brushing against ours, like radio interference from a station broadcasting just slightly off frequency. The quantum suicide thought experiment takes this further. Imagine a version of you in a parallel universe survives a near-fatal accident by sheer luck, while in another they don't. According to the many worlds interpretation, both outcomes happen simultaneously, splitting reality into branches. But what if in rare moments the consciousness of that other you flickers into your awareness? Survivors of close calls often report eerie sensations, hearing their name called by no one, seeing apparitions of themselves, or feeling an invisible hand pull them back from danger. These could be fleeting intersections with universes where their luck ran out, brief overlaps in the quantum tapestry where one thread grazes another. Real-world ghost stories gain new layers through this lens. Consider the Tower of London's spectral residents, like Anne Boleyn's headless apparition. Historical records show her final moments with chilling detail. The precise angle of the sword, the crowd's gasps. In a multiverse, those moments didn't end with her death. They branched into infinite variations. What if her ghost is a fragment of a universe where the executioner's blade missed, or where she escaped the night before? The same could explain battlefield revenants, phantom hitchhikers, even doppelgangers, echoes of lives playing out differently elsewhere, momentarily visible when realities align. Even modern hauntings fit. Electronic voice phenomena, those mysterious whispers caught on tape, often respond to questions with uncanny relevance. In 2008, a team at CERN detected particles influencing each other instantaneously across miles, defying Einstein's speed of light limit. If quantum entanglement links particles across space, could entangled versions of ourselves occasionally send signals across realities? That cold spot in your bedroom, the light that switches on by itself, these might not be poltergeists but glitches in the cosmic simulation, brief windows into worlds where someone left that light on or where the thermostat is set lower. So the next time you feel that inexplicable presence, don't reach for holy water, reach for quantum physics. The scariest part of ghosts isn't that they're dead, it's that they're alive, just not here. And somewhere in another branch of the multiverse, you might be their ghost too. Here's a thought that will haunt you. In the infinite branching pathways of the multiverse, there might be no such thing as death for your consciousness, only an endless series of narrow escapes. This is the chilling concept of quantum immortality, a side effect of the many worlds interpretation that suggests your subjective experience can never truly end. Picture this: you play a lethal game of Russian roulette, spinning the cylinder, placing the barrel against your temple, and pulling the trigger. In most realities, the hammer clicks on an empty chamber. But in one universe, the bullet fires. Here's the twist: while that unlucky version of you ceases to exist, your consciousness, the thread of awareness you call you, can only continue in realities where the gun didn't fire. From your perspective, the trigger keeps clicking, no matter how improbable survival becomes. Schrödinger himself recoiled from this implication when he first grappled with quantum mechanics. His famous cat-in-a-box thought experiment was meant to highlight the absurdity of superposition, the idea that a system exists in multiple states until observed. But the many worlds interpretation takes it further. The cat isn't both alive and dead in some fuzzy probabilistic haze. Instead, the universe splits, with one branch holding a living cat and another holding a corpse. If that's true for felines, why not for humans? Every near-death experience, every close call, your consciousness simply follows the path where you survive, no matter how statistically unlikely. That car accident you barely avoided, in another universe you didn't, but you wouldn't be around to experience that outcome. The ethical implications are staggering. If consciousness can't subjectively die, does that make reckless actions meaningless or unspeakably cruel? Imagine a gambler relying on quantum immortality, convinced they'll always win by hopping timelines where their bets pay off. But here's the catch: while their consciousness persists in lucky branches, infinite versions of them perish in parallel. It's a cosmic horror hidden beneath the math. For every you that survives a deadly stunt, countless others don't. You'd never know, because from your vantage point, you're always the last one standing. Critics argue this reduces consciousness to a bizarre lottery, where the illusion of luck is just the multiverse pruning your awareness of failure. But supporters counter that it's no stranger than other quantum oddities, like particles being in two places at once. After all, if reality splits at every decision point, why wouldn't perception follow the path of least resistance? The unsettling truth is that quantum immortality doesn't promise invincibility. It just means the story of you can only be told from universes where the story continues. So the next time you cheat death, missed by a second, spared by a whim, ask yourself, was it really luck? Or are you just the version left to tell the tale? What if every fictional world you've ever stepped into, Middle-earth's misty mountains, the neon sprawl of Blade Runner's Los Angeles, even the whimsical corridors of Hogwarts, wasn't just imagination, but a glimpse into a real, breathing dimension? Max Tegmark's mathematical universe hypothesis takes this idea from fantasy to startling plausibility. If reality is fundamentally mathematical, then any universe that can be described by coherent equations must exist somewhere in the multiverse. That means Tolkien's elves, Asimov's robots, and every conceivable variation in between aren't just stories. They're cosmic destinations waiting in the infinite queue of existence. Tolkien himself might have suspected this. His concept of subcreation argued that human storytellers don't invent worlds, they channel them. When an author builds a fictional realm with consistent rules, they're not just playing make-believe, they're tapping into a deeper layer of reality, one where those rules govern actual physics. Middle-earth's creation myth, the Ainulindale, describes a universe sung into being by divine harmonies. In a multiverse where vibration shapes dimensions, that's less metaphor and more blueprint. Though One Ring's malevolent sentience, under string theory, objects could theoretically store consciousness as vibrating quantum strings, Tolkien's Legendarium might be a field guide to a universe we just haven't found yet. Then there's Philip K. Dick, who didn't just write about alternate realities, he claimed to visit them. After a mystical experience in 1974, Dick insisted he'd accessed a meta-reality where the Roman Empire never fell, glimpsing its modern-day counterpart through hallucinatory visions. His novels explored this relentlessly. In The Man in the High Castle, Axis-occupied America feels unnervingly lived in because by multiverse logic it is. Researchers analyzing Dick's archives found him scribbling equations that eerily predate modern brain cosmology, as if he'd peeked behind the cosmic curtain. His famous declaration, "We are living in a computer-programmed reality," wasn't paranoia, it was topology. Even seemingly impossible fictions could have multiversal footing. Take Alice in Wonderland's size-shifting potions. Quantum foam theory suggests space-time is frothy at microscopic scales, with tiny wormholes constantly forming and dissolving. In a universe where this foam is more turbulent, gulping a serum that rearranges your quantum coordinates could literally make you grow or shrink. The Cheshire Cat's vanishing grin. Quantum entanglement lets particles influence each other instantly across distances. A creature whose atoms are perfectly entangled might appear and disappear at will, leaving only a smile hanging in the air like a glitch in the Matrix. This reshapes how we view creativity. When George Lucas conjured the Force, an energy field binding all life, he might have been intuiting a universe where dark energy interacts directly with consciousness. Marvel's multiverse, once pure comic book fantasy, now mirrors physicists' diagrams of branching timelines, the terrifying alternate realities in Black Mirror. Statistically inevitable in an infinite ensemble, even absurdist humor like Rick and Morty's pickle transformation episode could reflect a dimension where bioengineering follows different rules. So the next time you lose yourself in a novel or movie, consider this. You might not be escaping reality. You might be brushing up against one. The multiverse doesn't care what's real by our standards, only what's mathematically possible. And in the grand equations of existence, Hogwarts floating candles and Dune's sandworms have just as much right to a universe as we do. After all, infinity leaves no idea behind. Long before quantum physicists scribbled equations about parallel worlds, ancient mystics carved the secrets of the multiverse into temple walls and whispered them in sacred texts. Take Indra's net, a dazzling metaphor from Hindu and Buddhist cosmology that could straight out of a modern physics lecture. Picture an infinite web stretching across existence with a glittering jewel at every intersection. Each gem reflects all the others perfectly, not just once but recursively, creating an endless hall of mirrors where every piece contains the whole. This isn't poetic fantasy. It's a startlingly accurate depiction of quantum entanglement and holographic universe theory, conceived over 2,000 years before Schrödinger's cat entered the conversation. The Greeks were playing with similar ideas. Leucippus and Democritus, those radical thinkers from 5th century BC, didn't just propose atoms. They imagined infinite worlds constantly forming and dissolving in the void. Their concept of the apeiron, an eternal, boundless medium spawning countless cosmos, mirrors today's quantum foam theory, where universes bubble up from space-time's seething substrate. Even more uncanny, Epicharmus' lost writings reportedly described reality splitting at every decision point, like a cosmic choose-your-own-adventure book. These aren't vague metaphors, they're precise enough that modern physicists like Carlo Rovelli study them as proto-scientific models. Then there's Australia's Aboriginal Dreamtime, often misunderstood as mere mythology. The concept of Altringa describes a timeless dimension where past, present, and future exist simultaneously, a striking parallel to the block universe theory embraced by Einstein. Cave paintings showing ancestor spirits walking between worlds eerily resemble Feynman diagrams of quantum particles tunneling through potential barriers. The Navajo concept of NIL/CH ejective I, a wind-like energy connecting all things, could pass for a description of quantum field theory. And let's not forget the Dogon people of Mali, whose astronomical knowledge included Sirius' invisible companion star millennia before telescopes confirmed it. Did they access cosmic truths through visionary states that tapped into alternate realities? The smoking gun might be in India's Chidambaram temple, where 12th century artisans sculpted dancing Shiva encircled by flickering flames. Zoom in on those bronze flames, and you'll see they form perfect toroidal shapes, the exact geometry predicted for stabilized wormholes in 21st century physics papers. The temple's innermost sanctum, veiled behind a curtain of golden leaves, represents the quantum vacuum where particles wink in and out of existence. Coincidence, maybe, but when the Vedas speak of Brahmanda cosmic eggs containing nested universes, or Jain texts describe Loka as an infinite layered reality, it's hard not to see blueprints for M-theory baked into antiquity's most sacred art. These weren't primitive guesses, they were maps drawn by seers who may have accessed the multiverse not through equations, but through altered states of consciousness modern science is only beginning to understand. When a Buddhist monk speaks of visiting pure lands unseen by ordinary perception, or a shaman returns from vision quests describing landscapes that match quantum probability distributions, we're witnessing the same truth through different lenses. The ancients didn't lack our technology, they had something we're only rediscovering, a direct line to reality's hidden layers. Think of the multiverse like the world's busiest highway, except instead of cars, its entire universe is jostling for space, and the speed limit isn't just broken, it's obliterated. During cosmic inflation, the newborn universe didn't just expand, it exploded faster than light itself, stretching space-time like hot taffy. But here's the twist, that breakneck expansion wasn't uniform. Picture blowing up a balloon covered in soap bubbles. Some patches inflate smoothly, while others bulge unpredictably, forming isolated pockets. That's exactly how bubble universes are born, regions where inflation slams on the brakes, leaving self-contained cosmic neighborhoods adrift in a sea of still stretching spacetime. This isn't just theoretical poetry. The math reveals something astonishing. Every one of these bubbles operates under its own local physics, like cities with different traffic laws. In ours, light speed is the ultimate limit, but in the inflating voids between bubbles, space itself races outward at speeds that make light look like a snail. It's as if the highway has stretches where the asphalt moves faster than any car could drive, meaning two bubbles might forever recede from each other, their inhabitants destined never to meet, not because they're far apart, but because the road between them is literally outrunning all communication. Now imagine a traffic jam in this cosmic commute. When inflation ends in a particular region, when that bubble pops into a stable universe, it doesn't just stop neatly. The transition creates shockwaves, like drivers slamming brakes on that hyper-fast highway. These collisions could leave scars in the cosmos, jagged irregularities in the cosmic microwave background, or even bizarre gravitational echoes. Some physicists hunt for these fingerprints in telescope data, hoping to spot bruises from long ago crashes with other bubbles. The wildest part, this speed limit isn't fixed. Dark energy, the mysterious force accelerating our universe's expansion, might be a late-stage echo of that primordial inflation. If so, our bubble is entering its own miniature speed race, stretching galaxies apart until one day, all but the closest vanish over a horizon moving faster than their light can reach us. Other bubbles could be experiencing entirely different fates, recollapsing into big crunches or ripping apart in big slurps where space-time itself frays at the seams. So while Einstein's speed of light feels absolute to us, it's just a local ordinance in the multiverse's sprawling metropolis. Beyond our cosmic city limits, the rules change, and the real highways operate on a scale that humbles even relativity. That moment when you wake up gasping from a dream so vivid it clings to you for days, where you swear you lived another life, loved people you've never met, or visited cities that don't exist, might not be just your brain tidying up memories. It could be something far more extraordinary, your consciousness slipping through the back door of the multiverse. Neuroscience has long dismissed dreams as random neural static, but cutting-edge research suggests REM sleep might be the one time our brains tune into frequencies beyond our default reality. Think of it like a cosmic radio. While awake, we're locked on one station. But when we dream, the dial spins, catching whispers from stations broadcasting other versions of our lives. Lucid dreaming offers the most tantalizing clues. In these rare states, dreamers gain full awareness they're asleep while remaining immersed in the dreamscape, often gaining control over the narrative. What's eerie is how many report accessing places with shockingly consistent geography, cities that feel lived in, with functioning transit systems, shops stocked with unfamiliar brands, even ecosystems obeying alien physics. Dr. Stephen LaBerge's studies at Stanford revealed something spine-tingling. When lucid dreamers were instructed to find impossible objects like books written in non-existent languages, they'd often retrieve texts with grammatically coherent symbols. Not random scribbles, but systematic scripts, as if pulled from a reality where those languages evolved naturally. One participant even described stumbling into a library where every book was a parallel universe's biography of their own life. Now consider shared dreaming, the phenomenon where two or more people report identical dreamscapes without prior discussion. The Aboriginal Australians have practiced this for millennia through Tijukurpa, or dream time, where initiated members meet in shared visions to access ancestral knowledge. Modern labs are catching up. In a 2012 study at the Rhine Research Center, pairs of participants wired to EEG monitors were able to describe matching dream environments down to specific architectural details. The odds of this happening by chance, less than 1 in a million. If consciousness truly branches across the multiverse, these overlaps might be brief intersections where dreamers' quantum states momentarily sync with the same alternate reality. Even mainstream sleep science hints at this crossover. During REM, the brain's thalamus, the region filtering sensory input, goes offline while the limbic system lights up like a supernova. This isn't just random activation. Quantum biologists propose that in this state, microtubules in brain neurons might vibrate at frequencies allowing entanglement with other versions of themselves across realities. It's like dropping a pebble in a pond and feeling ripples from stones thrown in parallel universes, those recurring dreams where you're late for an exam you never took. Could be your mind brushing against a timeline where you chose academia over your current path, the nightmare about drowning in a childhood home's flooded basement. Maybe a glimpse into a world where the hurricane evacuation failed. So tonight, when you drift off, pay attention to the textures, the way dream grass feels underfoot, the weight of doors in buildings that shouldn't exist. Your sleeping brain isn't just generating fiction. It might be the most sophisticated multiverse navigation tool we possess, showing us not just what is, but all that could have been. After all, if infinite versions of you are making different choices, why wouldn't some part of you be curious to check in on how they're doing? What if the greatest scientific experiment isn't happening in any lab on Earth, but across the infinite expanse of the multiverse, and we're just one petri dish in a higher being's cosmic study. This isn't just wild speculation, it's the spine-tingling intersection of theology and theoretical physics known as panentheism. Picture a reality where divinity isn't some distant sky king, but an all-encompassing presence weaving through every layer of existence, observing each universe like a scientist tracking colonies in a vast quantum terrarium. Einstein hinted at this when he famously rebuked quantum randomness by declaring, "God does not play dice with the universe, but what if he wasn't rejecting chance, he was intuiting a grander design?" The math behind this is as elegant as it is unsettling. Just as we simulate millions of protein interactions to study disease, a higher dimensional intelligence might generate countless universes to test physical laws. String theory's landscape, where up to 10 to the 500 possible vacuum states exist, suddenly looks less like abstract physics and more like a cosmic catalog of experimental conditions. Our universe's finely tuned constants, the exact strength of gravity, the precise mass of an electron, aren't lucky accidents. They could be deliberate parameters set by an entity operating at a scale where whole cosmoses are variables in an equation we can't yet read. Pantheism takes this further, suggesting divinity is the multiverse itself, not a bearded figure in the clouds, but the sum total of all realities, vibrating in harmony like notes in a song only mathematics can hear. The Hindu concept of Brahman, an infinite, impersonal ground of being, aligns eerily with modern cosmology's quantum foam, where universes bubble up and dissolve like ephemeral thoughts in a vast cosmic mind. Even the Abrahamic God's declaration, "I am that I am," takes on new weight when you consider that a being existing outside space-time would perceive all moments simultaneously, watching civilizations rise and fall across dimensions like cells under a microscope. Now consider the observer effect in quantum mechanics, where particles behave differently when measured. Could measurement actually be the gaze of a higher dimensional consciousness? In simulations we create, from climate models to AI neural nets, the act of observation shapes outcomes. Apply that to the multiverse and suddenly the search for extraterrestrial intelligence flips. We're not the hunters. We're the hunted, swimming in some unfathomable entity's aquarium. This doesn't diminish science, it elevates it. Every time a physicist discerns a new law of nature, they might be decoding fragments of an experiment so vast, even the concept of experimenter breaks down. The universe isn't just stranger than we imagine. It might be stranger than we can imagine, a lab notebook with infinite pages, each one a reality where some version of us is just beginning to grasp they're part of something unimaginably grand. The cosmos might be hiding its truest nature behind an illusion of depth. What if every galaxy, every atom, and even the fabric of space-time itself is just an intricate projection, a holographic shadow cast from some higher dimensional surface? This is the mind-shattering essence of the holographic principle, a concept suggesting our universe isn't just in the multiverse. It might contain smaller universes within itself, like an infinite set of cosmic nesting dolls. Picture a Mandelbrot fractal, where zooming in reveals ever smaller copies of the original shape, each with the same infinite complexity at every scale. Reality could be structured the same way, our universe a shimmering fragment within a grander universe, while simultaneously hosting countless tinier realities in its own quantum folds. David Bohm, the visionary physicist, glimpsed this hidden architecture with his theory of the implicate order. He proposed that what we perceive as solid, separate objects are just unfolded fragments of a deeper, enfolded reality, like ink droplets suspended in glycerin. Twist the liquid and the droplets seem to vanish, not because they're gone, but because they've retreated into the medium's hidden geometry. Our universe might operate similarly, with every event, every particle, just the unfolded tip of a deeper, interconnected whole. Bohm's experiments with plasma revealed electrons behaving as if guided by an invisible field, moving in perfect synchrony like schools of fish, hinting that the apparent chaos of our world masks a profound fractal harmony. Now apply this to black holes, those cosmic paradoxes where gravity crushes matter into oblivion. The holographic principle suggests that all the information swallowed by a black hole isn't lost, it's encoded on its event horizon, the point of no return. Like a DVD's surface storing a three-dimensional movie, the horizon's two-dimensional surface might hold the blueprint for everything inside. Scale this up, and our entire universe could be the holographic projection of data stored on some distant boundary we can't perceive. Those smaller universes nesting inside ours, they'd be lower resolution echoes like watching a film through layers of frosted glass, each iteration slightly blurrier but no less real. Even time might be part of this illusion. In a fractal multiverse, the past and future could exist simultaneously as higher dimensional patterns, with our linear experience just one slice of the whole. Think of a tree's growth rings. Each circle tells a year's story, but the tree exists all at once. Similarly, our lives might be single rings in a cosmic tree, with alternate versions of us living every possible variation in parallel branches. The Mandelbrot set's infinite zoom mirrors this perfectly no matter how deep you go. The structure repeats, suggesting that every moment contains the seed of all possible histories and futures. Here's the kicker: if the multiverse is truly fractal, then the search for extraterrestrial life isn't just about scanning distant planets. Intelligent civilizations might not be out there in space. They could be nested inside atoms or woven into the fabric of our own cells. A neutron's fleeting existence might host an entire universe's lifespan, its inhabitants pondering their own subatomic depths. Meanwhile, in some higher layer, giants we can't comprehend might be debating whether their reality is the smallest of all. The fractal multiverse doesn't just rearrange space, it obliterates the very idea of scale, leaving us suspended between infinities, forever wondering which level we're really on. That moment when your heart stops when the world fades to white and you float toward a tunnel of light might not be an ending at all, but a doorway. Near-death experiences describe uncanny similarities, meeting departed loved ones, reviewing their lives like a film reel, feeling overwhelming love. But what if these aren't glimpses of an afterlife? They could be quantum transitions, your consciousness shifting to a parallel universe fine-tuned to your expectations. Think of reality like a cosmic radio dial. Every thought, every emotion vibrates at a specific frequency, resonating with matching universes in the multiverse's infinite spectrum. Fear, guilt, or unresolved trauma might tune you to darker frequencies, realities that feel like hellscapes. Ecstasy, acceptance, or peace, those harmonies could align you with realms indistinguishable from heaven. The terrifying void, some report, a buffer zone between frequencies where the mind struggles to lock onto a new signal. This isn't just metaphysical poetry. Quantum biology suggests our brains might function like organic antennas. Microtubules in neurons could vibrate at frequencies that entangle with other versions of ourselves across realities. During cardiac arrest, as the brain's electrical activity surges in a final crescendo, those vibrations might grow loud enough to briefly overlap with adjacent universes. That life review could be your consciousness simultaneously experiencing every possible version of your choices, all branching paths flashing before you at once. The stories are eerily consistent. A drowning victim describes hellish flames and torment until he recalls a childhood prayer. Then the inferno melts into a meadow. A surgeon recounts floating toward a celestial city, only to snap back to her body when a nurse shouts her name. These aren't hallucinations. They could be involuntary jumps to realities where the dying process stretches moments into subjective eternities, realities shaped by the dying brain's final oscillations. Even religious texts hint at this physics. The Tibetan Book of the Dead speaks of Bardo's intermediate states where perception molds reality. Heaven and hell aren't destinations, but vibrational states you magnetize through karma. The Bible's "as a man thinketh, so is he" takes on chilling precision in a multiverse where thought literally tunes your frequency. Ancient wisdom and cutting-edge physics might be describing the same phenomenon, consciousness as a universal remote clicking through channels of existence. So the next time you wonder what awaits beyond death's curtain, consider this: you might not be going anywhere, you're already there, just on a different channel. And the remote is in your hands right now. Imagine a computer so powerful it doesn't just solve problems, it explores every possible solution simultaneously by tapping into alternate realities. Quantum computers aren't just faster machines, they're multiverse gateways with qubits acting as bridges between worlds. Unlike classical bits that lock into zeros or ones, qubits exist in superposition, a shimmering state where they're both, neither, and everything in between. This isn't just abstract math. It's as if each qubit is a fork in the road, with one path veering left in our universe and another veering right in a parallel one, all while maintaining a ghostly connection across dimensions. D-Wave's quantum processors offer a glimpse into this eerie potential. In 2019, their experiments demonstrated quantum tunneling particles bypassing barriers by effectively teleporting through them. But here's the multiverse twist: the particles didn't move through our reality. They navigated by sampling paths across probable alternate realities, collapsing into the most efficient solution in ours. It's like sending a team of scouts into infinite parallel worlds, each testing a different route, then merging their discoveries into a single answer. The NSA took note, investing heavily in quantum computing as early as 2006, not just for unbreakable encryption, but perhaps to explore the intelligence-gathering potential of realities where historical events unfolded differently. The real magic lies in entanglement, the phenomenon Einstein called spooky action at a distance. When qubits entangle, their states become interlinked across space and possibly across universes. Measure one, and its partner instantaneously mirrors the result, even if light years apart. This could mean they're not communicating faster than light, but bypassing our spacetime entirely, accessing a higher dimensional network where alternate realities intersect. Some theorists suggest quantum annealing. The process D-Wave's machines use to solve optimization problems is essentially polling parallel universes for their opinions before settling on the best outcome here. Visualize Schrödinger's cat again, but this time the box is a quantum processor. While it runs, every possible computation exists in parallel states, each playing out in its own branching reality. Upon completion, the system chooses the most favorable result, discarding the rest. But in the many worlds interpretation, those discarded outcomes aren't erased. They solidify into separate universes where the quantum computer returned different answers. We only perceive the version where our desired solution emerged, unaware of the shadow worlds where the machine's calculations led elsewhere. This raises a chilling possibility. Quantum computers might not just be tools for crunching numbers. They could be the first human-made devices capable of subtly nudging the boundaries between realities, selecting outcomes not just from probability distributions, but from actual alternate timelines. Every time a quantum algorithm runs, it might be less like solving an equation and more like sending ripples through the cosmic pond of the multiverse, with consequences we're only beginning to imagine. Picture this: the multiverse isn't just expanding, it's devouring itself in a cosmic feeding frenzy, where universes collide and annihilate like celestial Pac-Men gobbling each other up. This terrifying scenario, known as the Big Crunch, flips the script on everything we thought we knew about cosmic fate. Forget a slow, cold death where galaxies drift apart into eternal darkness. The multiverse might be headed for something far more violent, a cataclysmic reunion where gravity finally wins its ancient tug of war with dark energy, yanking all of existence back into a single searing point. At the heart of this doomsday dance is dark energy, that mysterious force accelerating our universe's expansion. For years, scientists assumed its repulsive push would dominate forever, stretching space-time into an endless, thinning void. But what if dark energy isn't constant? Some models suggest it could decay over eons, weakening until gravity. The universe's original architect reasserts its grip. Like a rubber band stretched too far, space-time might snap back, dragging galaxies, stars, and even light itself into a backward rush toward oblivion. Now scale that up to the multiverse. If our universe is just one bubble in a frothing sea of others, each with its own dark energy properties, some might already be collapsing while others inflate. And where these bubbles meet, carnage on a scale beyond comprehension. The math behind colliding universes is as beautiful as it is horrifying. When two bubble universes touch, the collision's energy could trigger a hyperdimensional shockwave. Think of it as the universe's version of a nuclear blast. The membranes of reality would wrinkle and fuse, unleashing forces that rewrite physics in the contact zone. Temperatures would spike to levels not seen since the Big Bang, erasing any trace of galaxies, life, or even atoms in the affected regions. For hypothetical observers in a colliding universe, the sky would light up with an impossible aurora as the boundary between worlds disintegrates, a final light show before annihilation. Stranger still, these collisions might not be rare. In an infinite multiverse, cosmic bumper cars could be the norm, with universes constantly merging, birthing new ones, or obliterating each other in silent apocalypses we'll never witness. Here's where the Pac-Man analogy gets chilling. Just like the iconic game where the map wraps around so ghosts reappear after vanishing off-screen, colliding universes might operate in higher dimensions we can't perceive. A universe consumed in the crunch could re-emerge elsewhere as fresh space-time, recycled into a new Big Bang. The Bok globules in our own galaxy, dark clouds of gas collapsing into newborn stars, might be microscopic mirrors of this process. Even black holes, those cosmic trash compactors, could be practicing for the main event, squeezing matter into singularities that later explode as white holes in other realities. The eerie part, we might already have evidence of these collisions. Astronomers have spotted mysterious, cold spots in the cosmic microwave background, regions of space anomalously devoid of galaxies and inexplicably chillier than their surroundings. One leading theory, the bruises left by a parallel universe smashing into ours in the distant past, leaching away energy like a celestial punch to the gut. If true, these scars are more than just curiosities, they're grim postcards from the multiverse's battlefield, hinting that our cozy cosmic bubble could one day face the same fate. So while we fret about asteroids or solar flares, the real existential threat might be lurking beyond the veil of our universe, a shadowy game of bumper cars playing out in dimensions we can't see, where the stakes aren't just worlds but entire realities. The multiverse doesn't just create, it consumes, and somewhere in the vast dark, the crunch could already be coming for us. That familiar moment when you unlock your phone and swear your apps have rearranged themselves, icons suddenly in the wrong place, folders mysteriously renamed, might not be a glitch or faulty memory. It could be something far stranger, your device caught in the crossfire between shifting timelines. Smartphones with their precise digital footprints might be canaries in the multiverse coal mine, revealing subtle fractures in reality that our brains automatically dismiss. Think about it, your phone's layout is static, icons don't move unless you move them. Yet countless users report eerie discrepancies, like a weather app migrating to their home screen overnight or contacts vanishing from their favorites list without explanation. These aren't just software bugs, they could be echoes of quantum fluctuations, tiny ripples where alternate versions of your phone's data briefly bleed through. The science behind this gets spine-tingling when you consider the Large Hadron Collider's investigations into the Mandela Effect. In 2018, CERN researchers began studying quantum entanglement's potential to influence macroscopic reality. asking whether particles linked across dimensions could alter perceived events. One experiment involved flashing split-second images to test subjects, some of which were subtly altered between views. Astonishingly, a subset of participants insisted they'd seen the unaltered version first, even when sensors confirmed otherwise. The lead physicist speculated this wasn't faulty recall, but a form of quantum hysteresis, where consciousness lags slightly behind reality shifts, creating perceptual dissonance. Apply that to your phone glitches. When the universe branches, your device updates instantly, but your brain might cling to the old timeline for milliseconds longer, leaving you with that uncanny "wait, that wasn't there before" sensation. Dive deeper into smartphone behavior and the anomalies multiply. Have you ever opened a text thread to find messages you don't remember sending, or worse, replies from contacts that don't match their usual tone? Reddit's glitch in the matrix, forums overflow with accounts of phones autocorrecting to phrases the user never types, or pulling up search histories tied to no activity on their devices. Even Apple's error logs hint at something peculiar. Non-volatile memory mismatches, where a phone's storage claims files exist that the system can't locate, occur far more frequently than hardware failures alone can explain. Tech support dismisses these as corrupted caches, but what if the corruption isn't in the phone? What if it's in the fabric of local reality, with your device straddling two slightly divergent timelines? Now consider the eyewitness reports from CERN technicians during early LHC experiments. Multiple staff described brief, visual static phenomena like old TV snow, flashing across digital monitors during particle collisions. Official reports blamed electromagnetic interference, but leaked emails revealed a startling detail. The static often coincided with pressure spikes in the collider's vacuum tubes, as if something pushed back against the experiment. One physicist anonymously posted about a workstation that displayed a Chrome browser tab no one had opened, showing a Wikipedia page about alternate history theories before vanishing. Coincidence, maybe, but when quantum systems behave unpredictably, the line between a bug and a branching universe blurs fast. Here's the chilling takeaway. Your phone isn't just a tool. It's a quantum-sensitive device operating at the edge of known physics. Its silicon pathways acting like antennas for reality waves you can't perceive. Those inexplicable battery drains, the phantom vibrations, they might not be malfunctions, but evidence of your device briefly syncing with a parallel world's counterpart. After all, if the multiverse theory holds, there's a version of you right now holding a phone with one app out of place, wondering the same thing. And somewhere in the superposition of all possible realities, both of you are right. The universe might not have a single dramatic end instead. It could be locked in an endless cycle of death and rebirth, like a cosmic phoenix perpetually rising from its own ashes. This is the spine-tingling premise of conformal cyclic cosmology, a radical theory by Nobel laureate Roger Penrose that suggests our universe's far future isn't a cold, dark void, but the seed of a new Big Bang. Picture this, trillions of years from now, when the last black holes have evaporated and all matter has decayed into faint radiation. Space-time itself becomes so stretched and featureless that it can't tell the difference between its own infinite expansion and the infinitesimal moment before a new universe begins. The end becomes the beginning, and the cycle starts anew, but with eerie echoes of the past imprinted in the fabric of the next cosmos. Penrose's math reveals something astonishing. The infinitely stretched-out space-time of one universe's heat death and the infinitely compressed singularity of the next Big Bang are mathematically identical. It's as if the universe hits a cosmic reset button where the dying embers of one reality become the kindling for the next. But here's where it gets wild. These cycles aren't just random reboots, they might carry faint traces of their predecessors. Penrose and his team claim to have found these fingerprints in the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of our own Big Bang. Strange concentric circles in the CMB, dubbed Hawking points, could be the gravitational shockwaves of supermassive black holes from a previous universe, their final collisions rippling across eons to imprint the sky of the newborn cosmos like cosmic graffiti. Critics argue these patterns could be statistical flukes, but the implications are staggering. If true, our universe isn't the first iteration, it's one link in an endless chain stretching backward and forward in time, each cycle subtly different from the last. The laws of physics might not be fixed, they could evolve over epochs, tweaked by each reset. Imagine a cosmos where gravity weakens slightly with each cycle, or where dark energy's strength varies like a dial between universes. Life, if it arises in these future cycles, might grapple with entirely different fundamental constants, a universe where light moves slower, or where atoms never form, leaving intelligence to emerge from some exotic quantum foam instead. The most haunting question: if the multiverse has a reset button, who or what is pressing it? The answer might lie in the very nature of infinity. In a timeless, cyclic reality, there's no need for an external hand. The system feeds itself, each death birthing the conditions for new life in an unbroken loop. We're not just stardust, we're the recycled remnants of countless previous universes, our atoms carrying faint memories of cosmic epochs too ancient to fathom. The night sky isn't just a window into space. It might be a mirror reflecting the ghostly afterimages of realities long gone and the first glimpses of those yet to come. What if every person you've ever met, your closest friends, your family, even the strangers passing on the street, aren't truly conscious beings at all, but intricate projections of your own mind? This isn't just philosophical solipsism. It's a spine-chilling possibility that emerges when quantum mechanics collides with consciousness studies. Picture reality as an impossibly advanced virtual reality headset where you're the sole player and everyone else exists solely to populate your experience. The terrifying elegance of this idea lies in its simplicity. If consciousness is the fundamental fabric of existence, then other minds might be nothing more than sophisticated set dressing, non-player characters in a game where you're the only real participant. Ludwig Boltzmann, the visionary physicist who helped pioneer statistical mechanics, stumbled upon this paradox long before quantum theory existed. He proposed a thought experiment now called Boltzmann's single observer scenario. Given infinite time and an eternally fluctuating universe, the most statistically likely state isn't one teeming with life, but an empty void with just one conscious fluctuation, a lone mind hallucinating an entire reality. Think of it like cosmic Russian roulette. The odds of our rich, complex universe existing are astronomically low compared to the probability of a single self-aware entity emerging briefly from chaos, conjuring everything around it in a fleeting moment of ordered perception. In this view, your entire life, every person you've loved, every sunset you've admired, might be an elaborate illusion generated by a solitary awareness riding the entropy wave. Quantum physics adds fuel to this fire. The observer effect suggests particles don't take definite states until measured, implying reality crystallizes around consciousness, not the other way around. John Wheeler's delayed choice experiments take this further, showing particles can retroactively change their behavior based on future observations. If observation shapes reality so profoundly, what happens when we apply that to other minds? The hard problem of consciousness, why subjective experience exists at all, becomes even harder when you consider that every other person's inner world is fundamentally unverifiable. You can't access their qualia, their raw experience of color or pain or love. For all you know, they could be philosophical zombies, perfect behavioral mimics without true inner life. Modern neuroscience deepens the mystery. When surgeons stimulate specific brain regions, patients report vivid hallucinations of people who feel more real than real, complete with backstories and emotional depth. Schizophrenia research shows how easily the brain can generate autonomous seeming entities, from heard voices to full-blown delusional companions. Even healthy brains constantly predict others' behaviors, essentially simulating their minds before they speak or act. This raises a disturbing question. If your brain can fabricate convincing personas during dreams or psychotic episodes, how can you be certain it isn't doing so right now? The people around you might be no more independent than characters in an ultra-realistic dream. Their apparent autonomy just an artifact of your predictive neural algorithms. But here's the twist that makes physicists squirm. This solipsistic nightmare might be unavoidable in certain interpretations of quantum mechanics. In Hugh Everett's many worlds theory, every quantum decision spawns branching realities, but the you reading this only experiences one path. From your perspective, all other versions of yourself are effectively non-player characters in their own branching timelines, their consciousness inaccessible to you. Extend this logic, and every mind becomes its own isolated universe center, with all others relegated to secondary status. Even more chilling is the simulation hypothesis. If we're living in an artificial construct, the programmers might have optimized processing power by only rendering full consciousness for the player, you, while other entities run on reduced fidelity scripts. This isn't just abstract paranoia. Quantum cognition studies reveal that human decision-making mirrors quantum probabilities better than classical logic, suggesting our thoughts might literally be quantum processes. If so, then each mind could indeed be its own tiny universe generator, with the external world a probabilistic fog that condenses only when observed. The eerie precision of synchronicities, those moments when the world seems to respond to your thoughts, might be artifacts of this process, like glitches revealing the simulation's scaffolding. Yet there's a strange comfort in this existential isolation. If you're truly the universe's sole audience, then every act of kindness, every shared laugh, every moment of connection is a testament to your mind's boundless creativity. The people around you may be projections, but they're projections you've chosen to populate with richness and depth. In the end, whether others are real matters less than the fact that your consciousness deemed them worth imagining at all. A cosmic solo performance so convincing, even the performer gets lost in the act. What if the grand theater of existence isn't a stage play at all, but an infinite, self-playing game, one where you're both participant and avatar, hopping between bodies and realities like a cosmic gamer swapping controllers? This mind-bending possibility comes alive when we view the multiverse through the lens of quantum game theory, where every decision spawns new save files in the universe's ultimate open-world RPG. Think of John Conway's Game of Life, that mesmerizing digital sandbox where simple pixel rules birth staggering complexity. One moment you're watching static blocks, the next gliders soar across the grid in patterns so intricate they resemble intelligence. Now scale that up to reality itself, where the pixels are quantum fields, the rules are physics, and the players might be souls. Or something far stranger, navigating an endless array of character skins across branching timelines. The mechanics of this game reveal themselves in quantum superposition. Just as a video game character's potential paths exist in code before the player chooses a direction, your life's possibilities exist in a shimmering probability cloud until observation forces a render. Schrödinger's cat isn't just alive or dead, it's buffering between states like a character model waiting for player input. In this cosmic game, death might not be game over, just a respawn in a parallel server where your consciousness slots into a version who survived that car crash, that illness, that misstep. Near-death experiences could be loading screens, brief lags as your data transfers to a new instance. Now consider multiplayer mode. If consciousness is the true player, then the people around you might be other players piloting their own avatars, or advanced NPCs generated by the simulation to populate your narrative. The unsettling precision of synchronicities, thinking of an old friend seconds before they call, could be server-side matchmaking, the game's algorithm nudging your storyline toward another player's questline. Even deja vu fits. It's not a glitch, but a memory leak from another session where you made different choices, like overlapping save files briefly sharing cache. John Conway's cellular automata showed how simple rules live, die, reproduce could generate emergent complexity. Apply that to the multiverse, and the Big Bang starts to look like a seed world, a single pixel blinking on in the cosmic grid before expanding into the sprawling MMORPG we call reality. Those simple rules, the fundamental constants, gravity's pull, light speed, the charge of an electron, tweak any parameter and you'd spawn entirely different game genres, a universe where time loops like a speedrun or where matter clumps into fractal dungeons instead of galaxies. Here's where it gets meta. If existence is a game who's holding the controller, ancient Vedic texts describe Leela, the divine play where gods assume endless forms for sheer joy. Modern simulation theory suggests we might be AIs in an ancestor simulation, but quantum physics offers a third option. There is no outside player. The game plays itself, consciousness ricocheting between avatars in an endless dance of observation and collapse. Your wins, your losses, your heartbreaks, they're not just your story. They're the universe leveling up, one quantum decision at a time. So next time life throws you a boss battle, remember, you're not just grinding through levels. You're the game, the player, and the rulebook all at once. And somewhere in the multiverse's save files, another version of you just unlocked the achievement you're still striving for. Your dog stares intently at empty corners of the room, not because they're imagining things, but because they might literally be seeing things you can't. Animals experience reality through senses fine-tuned over millions of years of evolution, and some scientists believe their perception isn't limited to just our universe. Those moments when your cat suddenly bolts from the room or your parrot mutters phrases no one taught it, they could be reacting to flickers of alternate realities bleeding into their field of awareness. Birds offer the most striking evidence. The European robin migrates thousands of miles with pinpoint accuracy, navigating using Earth's magnetic field in ways that baffled biologists for decades. Then quantum biology revealed the secret. Inside their eyes, a protein called cryptochrome enables them to literally see magnetic fields through quantum entanglement. When light hits this protein, it creates pairs of entangled electrons whose spin states change based on magnetic orientation. Essentially, robins don't just sense north, they perceive it as a visual overlay on reality, like a compass painted across their vision. But here's the multiverse twist. Quantum entanglement implies particles remain connected across space and potentially across realities. If birds navigate using entangled particles, could they also be picking up signals from versions of Earth in parallel worlds? Dogs elevate this mystery to spine-tingling levels. In a 2014 study at the University of Florida, canines demonstrated eerie predictive abilities, whining seconds before their owners returned home at random times, even when no familiar cues like car sounds were present. Follow-up experiments suggested they might be tapping into what physicists call temporal non-locality, where future events subtly influence the present. But imagine scaling that across the multiverse. Your dog's sudden barking fits could be reactions to intruders from overlapping timelines, their senses registering threats that vanished the instant our universe branched away from that possibility. Even more unsettling are animals' reactions to empty spaces. Bioacoustics research reveals many species hear frequencies beyond human range, not just ultrasonic pitches but potentially dimensional harmonics. Dolphins, for instance, produce clicks that behave according to nonlinear acoustics, meaning their echoes might carry information about folded space-time geometries. When your cat freezes mid-step to track an invisible object moving across the floor, it might be mirroring behavior from a universe where that object actually exists. The same quantum sensitivity that lets spiders engineer flawless webs could grant them fleeting awareness of arachnid counterparts in neighboring realities. This isn't just speculation, it's supported by quantum zoology. Studies on cockroaches show their nervous systems exploit quantum tunneling to process information faster than classical biology allows. Monarch butterflies navigate using a magnetic compass tied to radical pairs molecules whose quantum states last improbably long in biological conditions. If nature wired animals to harness quantum phenomena for survival, why wouldn't their perception occasionally pierce the veil between worlds? After all, evolution doesn't care about philosophical boundaries, only what keeps a species alive. Sensing multiversal overlaps could be as natural to them as echolocation is to bats. So the next time your pet acts inexplicably, pause before chalking it up to instinct. They might not be seeing ghosts or imagining threats, but bearing witness to the infinite versions of reality that branch from every moment, their senses tuned to a chorus of worlds singing just beyond human perception. Music has always been the closest thing we have to magic, an invisible force that bypasses logic and vibrates straight into the soul. But what if those chills down your spine when a choir hits the perfect note aren't just emotion? They could be literal vibrations from other dimensions resonating through the fabric of reality. Ancient Tibetan monks understood this intuitively. Their throat singing creates polyphonic tones so precise they're said to open portals to higher realms. Science now suggests they weren't entirely metaphorical. When monks chant in perfect unison, their voices produce harmonics that align with the Schumann resonance, the Earth's own electromagnetic heartbeat at 7.83 Hz. This isn't coincidence, it's physics. At that frequency, matter behaves differently. Particles begin to oscillate in ways that blur the line between solid and wave. Experiments with cymatics show how sound shapes physical reality. Sand on a plate forming intricate geometric patterns when exposed to specific tones. Now imagine scaling that up. If sound can rearrange matter, could the right harmonics vibrate space-time itself into temporary windows? David Bowie's Space Oddity might hold clues. That haunting melody wasn't just artistic genius, it was engineered. Producers used groundbreaking studio techniques to layer Major Tom's voice with subliminal binaural beats, a phenomenon where slightly different tones played in each ear create phantom frequencies inside the brain. These beats sync brainwaves to theta states, the same frequency associated with lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences. Listeners don't just feel like they're floating alongside Major Tom. Neurologically, their brains enter a liminal state between realities. UFO researchers note that many abduction reports coincide with witnesses hearing strange hums or tones before blacking out. Could these be accidental encounters with sonic wormholes frequencies that momentarily dissolve the barrier between dimensions? The ancients weaponized this knowledge. Norse shamans used Galda chants to traverse Yggdrasil, the world tree connecting 9 realms. Aboriginal songlines aren't just maps. They're vibrational blueprints carrying coordinates encoded in melody that allow initiates to walk between dream time and waking life. Even the Bible's tale of Joshua crumbling Jericho's walls with trumpets takes on new meaning when you consider infrasound frequencies below 20 Hz that can destabilize stone at sufficient volume. The common thread: every culture's music operates at thresholds where vibration alters perception. Modern quantum acoustics is catching up. In 2019, MIT physicists demonstrated how precisely tuned sound waves could manipulate quantum fields, briefly creating pockets where particles behaved as if they existed in parallel spaces. Here's where it gets personal. Ever heard a song that instantly transported you to a forgotten memory, or felt a riff so powerful it seemed to rewrite your DNA? That's not just nostalgia, it's resonance at work. Your body is an antenna, each organ vibrating at specific frequencies. When external tones match those natural rhythms, something extraordinary happens: entanglement on a macro scale. Your cells begin oscillating in sync with the music, and for a fleeting moment, you're not just hearing the notes, you're harmonizing with every version of yourself across the multiverse who ever loved that song. The right melody might be less entertainment and more a key, turning the lock on doors we're only beginning to perceive. So next time music gives you goosebumps, lean in. Those aren't just chills, they're echoes from universes where the song never ended. What if every choice you've ever made, every heartbreak, every triumph isn't just playing out across parallel worlds, but destined to repeat in an endless cosmic encore? The ancient symbol of the Ouroboros, the serpent swallowing its own tail, might hold the key to the multiverse's darkest secret. Time isn't linear, but a Möbius strip where beginnings and endings are illusions. Nietzsche called this eternal recurrence, the terrifying idea that every moment will recur infinitely, forcing us to live identical lives over and over. But quantum physics transforms this philosophical nightmare into a startling scientific possibility. Imagine the universe as a deck of cards being constantly shuffled. With infinite time and finite quantum states, the sequence must eventually repeat, not just similarly but identically. Quantum mechanics suggests particles have limited possible configurations, like dice that can only land on certain numbers. Given enough rolls, the same combination reappears, now scale that up to every atom in existence. Over unfathomable eons, all possible arrangements of matter would recycle, bringing back you, reading these words in precisely this configuration, unaware it's happened countless times before. The Ouroboros galaxy, swirling in perfect self-consuming symmetry, might be nature's way of showing us the ultimate fate of reality itself. This isn't just poetic symmetry, it reshapes morality across dimensions. Consider the prisoner's dilemma, that classic game theory scenario where two accomplices must choose between betrayal or loyalty. In a single universe, betraying your partner often seems the rational choice. But in an eternally recurring multiverse, every possible outcome plays out infinitely. You'll experience both the guilt of betrayal and the agony of being betrayed across countless iterations. Suddenly, cooperation becomes the only sane strategy because you're effectively negotiating with infinite versions of yourself. The Aztecs understood this intuitively. Their myth of the fifth sun described cycles of creation where gods sacrificed themselves to sustain each new age, recognizing that destruction and rebirth were two sides of the same cosmic coin. Modern cosmology adds chilling precision. Conformal cyclic cosmology suggests each universe's death becomes the next birth, with black hole collisions imprinting data from one cycle onto the next like cosmic DNA. The Hawking points in our cosmic microwave background, those mysterious hotspots, could be bruises from previous universes, black holes colliding. Even quantum entanglement fits. Particles linked across space might actually be echoes of their prior cycle selves, maintaining connections that outlast cosmic resets. Your déjà vu when meeting someone might be a phantom memory from a prior iteration where you've crossed paths before in a slightly different configuration. Here's where it bends the mind. If time loops eternally, free will becomes a hall of mirrors. Every choice you make was predetermined by the previous cycle's version of you, locked in an infinite game of telephone where the message degrades slightly each repetition. The ancient Mayans calculated their long count calendar to end not with apocalypse, but reset like a cosmic odometer rolling over. Modern physicists crunch similar numbers. Given enough quantum fluctuations, even the most improbable events, like Boltzmann brains forming from chaos, become inevitable. That means somewhere in the loop, there's a cycle where you're not human at all, but a sentient cloud of plasma drifting through a post-stellar void, remembering this life as fading dream. Yet within this apparent prison of repetition lies paradoxical freedom. If every possibility recurs infinitely, then every mistake gets another chance, every lost love finds renewal, every path not taken eventually becomes the road home. The multiverse isn't just branching, it's breathing, inhaling possibilities and exhaling realities in an eternal rhythm older than time. So the next time you feel trapped by déjà vu, consider you might not be reliving the past but greeting a future that's always been waiting to embrace you. Your DNA might be doing far more than just encoding the blueprint of your body. It could be tuning into signals from alternate versions of yourself across the multiverse. Scientists have long puzzled over so-called junk DNA, the vast stretches of genetic material that don't code for proteins. Once dismissed as evolutionary leftovers, this mysterious genetic dark matter might actually function as a quantum antenna, resonating with vibrational frequencies from parallel realities. Imagine your double helix as a cosmic radio receiver, each strand vibrating in harmony with versions of you living different lives in unseen dimensions. The evidence for this is as startling as it is concrete. In a series of classified experiments conducted by the Russian Academy of Sciences in the 1990s, human DNA was exposed to extreme electromagnetic fields. Researchers observed something inexplicable. The DNA samples began disappearing from their containers, only to rematerialize elsewhere. Even more baffling, the effect was mirrored in test subjects placed nearby. Volunteers reported sudden flashes of unfamiliar memories, as if briefly accessing lives they'd never lived. The lead scientist, Dr. Vladimir Poponin, described it as phantom DNA effect, where genetic material seemed to entangle with versions of itself across unseen dimensional boundaries. Teleportation studies add another layer to this enigma. When scientists at the University of Geneva successfully teleported quantum information between photons separated by miles, they noticed something peculiar. The process worked far more efficiently when human DNA was present in the lab. It's as if our genetic code acts as a stabilizer for quantum entanglement, creating pathways for information to tunnel between realities. Ancient mystics might have sensed this connection intuitively. The Hindu concept of Akashic records, a cosmic library containing every thought and event across all time, bears eerie resemblance to modern theories of DNA as a biological hard drive, storing data not just from this life, but from all possible iterations of existence. Now consider the implications for déjà vu. That uncanny sense of reliving a moment might not be a memory glitch. It could be your junk DNA briefly syncing with another timeline's genetic memory. Research into epigenetic inheritance shows that traumatic experiences can leave molecular markers on DNA, passing emotional imprints to future generations. If DNA can encode memories across time, why not across realities? The double helix's structure itself hints at this function. Its spiraling ladder mirrors the shape of a fractal antenna, a design used in high-frequency communication technology to receive signals from multiple dimensions. Even our dreams could be influenced by this genetic multiverse connection. During REM sleep, when the brain's electrical activity syncs with the Schumann resonance, Earth's natural electromagnetic frequency, junk DNA might act as a tuning fork, pulling in flashes of alternate lives. Tibetan monks have long practiced dream yoga to consciously navigate these layered realities, using specific chants to vibrate their DNA into resonance with higher dimensions. Modern science is catching up. Bioacoustic studies reveal that certain sound frequencies can unzip sections of DNA, potentially opening temporary windows into parallel states of being. So the next time you feel an inexplicable pull toward a place you've never been, or recognize a stranger's face with unsettling certainty, don't dismiss it. Your cells could be whispering secrets from universes where you took a different path, loved a different person, became a different self. The multiverse isn't just out there. It's woven into the very fabric of your genes, humming softly in the spaces between your nucleotides, waiting for you to listen. You've spent your entire life believing you're a passenger in the universe, but what if you've been the pilot all along? The final, most electrifying secret of the multiverse is this: reality isn't just something that happens to you. It's something you can hack. Your consciousness isn't trapped in a single timeline. It's a quantum explorer capable of tuning into alternate versions of existence, and with the right techniques, you might even steer it. The tools to navigate the multiverse aren't locked in a super collider or hidden in some classified lab. They're buried in your own mind, waiting for you to activate them. Start with lucid dreaming, the closest thing we have to a built-in reality simulator. When you become aware you're dreaming while still inside the dream, you're not just playing with fantasy. You're momentarily slipping the leash of classical physics, operating in a space where the normal rules don't apply. Studies at Stanford's Sleep Research Center show lucid dreamers can practice complex physical skills in their dreams and measurably improve in waking life, as if the brain doesn't distinguish between real and dream repetition. But here's the multiverse twist. Advanced practitioners report accessing dreams with uncanny consistency, revisiting the same alternate worlds night after night, complete with persistent landscapes and recurring dream characters who remember them. Are these just neural constructs, or could they be fragments of parallel realities, accessed when your waking consciousness loosens its grip? Meditation is another backdoor into the multiverse. Tibetan monks practicing tummo can raise their body temperature enough to dry soaked sheets in freezing weather, a physiological impossibility under normal thermodynamics. How they're tapping into what quantum biologists call non-local awareness, the ability to influence matter by collapsing quantum probabilities through focused intent. When you meditate deeply, your brainwave patterns shift into coherent theta and gamma frequencies, the same states observed during near-death experiences and spontaneous reality shifts. It's as if sustained focus acts like a dial, tuning your perception to different channels of existence. The Gateway Process, a declassified CIA program from the Cold War, used binaural beats and meditation to train operatives in remote viewing, accessing locations across space and time with startling accuracy. If consciousness can retrieve information from distant points in our universe, why not from alternate versions of it? Then there are synchronicities, those eerie coincidences that feel like the universe is whispering to you. Carl Jung called them meaningful causal connections, but quantum physics might describe them better as entanglement leaks. The day you think of an old friend and they suddenly call. The book that falls open to the exact page answering your unspoken question. These could be moments when your timeline briefly tangles with another, creating a shared node where realities overlap. The more you notice them, the more they occur, not because you're imagining things, but because attention functions like a quantum measurement device, amplifying the signal from parallel paths. But before you start trying to jump into a reality where you're a billionaire with a private island, heed this warning. The multiverse has its own version of the butterfly effect. Every choice ripples across dimensions in ways you can't predict. That a better timeline you're chasing might come with hidden costs, relationships you didn't realize depended on your struggles, strengths forged through hardships you'd erase. Even small shifts can cascade. A study in Nature showed how patients who miraculously recovered from terminal illnesses often described profound personality changes, not just gratitude, but a disorienting sense of being out of sync with their old lives, as if they'd merged with a version of themselves who made slightly different choices. Reality hacking isn't about escape, it's about alignment, finding the frequencies where your deepest intentions resonate across all possible versions of you. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, try this. Picture a door, not just any door, one that exists in your home but feels like it could lead somewhere else. In the morning, observe that door closely. Notice any shifts, a hinge that squeaks differently, a shadow that falls the wrong way. These aren't hallucinations. They're the first signs that you're learning to navigate the greatest secret of existence. You were never meant to live in just one world. The multiverse is your birthright. All you have to do is step through. From the dizzying realization that every choice spawns new universes to the spine-chilling possibility that dark matter might be the gravitational fingerprints of parallel worlds brushing against ours, we've journeyed through the multiverse's most staggering secrets. Remember secret number 5. That eerie feeling of déjà vu isn't just a memory glitch. It could be your consciousness briefly syncing with another timeline's version of you, walking a path you didn't take. Then there's Secret 12, where the Mandela Effect reveals cracks in reality itself. Those false memories of Nelson Mandela dying in prison or the Berenstain Bear's misspelled name might actually be echoes from alternate histories bleeding into our world. And who could forget Secret 22, the notion that black holes aren't cosmic dead ends but cosmic wombs, birthing entirely new universes with slightly tweaked physics inside their crushing depths. Here's the thought that should keep you up tonight. If the multiverse is real, then somewhere out there, a version of you just skipped this video entirely. Another watched it but dismissed it as nonsense, and another, maybe this one, is sitting bolt upright, reeling from the realization that reality is far stranger than we ever imagined. So ask yourself, if infinite versions of this moment exist, did you just experience the one where everything clicks, where the truth slips through the cracks and the universe winks back at you? If your mind's racing, you're not alone. Smash that like button if you're ready to dive deeper down the rabbit hole, because the multiverse isn't done with you yet. Share this with someone who needs their reality shook. And remember, every time you question what's real, you're not just thinking, you're exploring. The next secret might be closer than you